Welcome back, my friends, to an episode of TFT Hyperroll with Artark. I apologize in some ways for this video because we're going back to Infiniteam. That was the sound of a bunch of people clicking away, but it was by request. Jerry P asked to please do Infiniteam with Fiddle as the Infiniteam in the front line and Ezreal in the back line. So if you ask for something like that, I'm going to try to make it happen. I can't always make it happen, but in this case, you'll see, we made it happen. Graphic, like, comment, subscribe, lives, weekend, noon. Let's get started. So obviously, we're going Infiniteam, but the key to making this work is going to be getting an Infiniteam Emblem. None of these are going to give us an emblem, so we got to work through the hero augments and find the one that's best. Mana tempering, it's sort of a no-brainer whenever you're doing an Infiniteam Sureshot build, which is the one I'm going to do because that's going to give us the strongest Ezreal at the end. And we'll go ahead and hyperdrive these early fights because that's not what anyone's here for, but I still like to show them anyway so you can see sort of how the build goes together. Although, if you really want to find out, check out the Forcing Infiniteam Sureshot. That takes you through this build kind of step by step by step and shows you how to win with it. And normally this build is a really fast start because you often get the 2-star Ashe that you can put in and trigger Sureshot. Didn't want to put a 1-star Ashe in this case, and it probably didn't matter anyway because that team was going to overwhelm us. For item choices, I still want my Samira items, but I need to hold on to a sword, so I cannot create an Infinity Edge at this time. The reason is, if I'm going to create an Infiniteam Emblem, I'm going to need a sword. And I don't want to use it to create a different item and then find out I needed it. Once you have Ashe on your team and the Sureshot kicks in, you're going to have a much easier time, especially with mana tempering, because everyone's going to be getting increased attack damage. Obviously, Lucian doesn't have much, but Ashe makes up for it. It's time for Augment 2, and I'm hoping for some kind of Earth special, something like that. No. And nothing here is really great. Preparation is probably the least offensive, but I hate getting it this late in the game where I probably have most of my champs set up, so I don't necessarily want to keep them off the board. Hyperspeed again. I love Dragon's Claw for Pantheon. I've said it a bunch of times, but it's really good for him because his ult is based on his magic resist, so you give him lots of magic resist, including a little bit of health generation, and it'll help you through the whole fight. And it is time for an item choice after the NPC round, and there it is. We get to do it. Yeah, I threw an Annie in just so I could prepare other units to go back into the game with more power. But this means we can now create the Infiniteam Emblem, and we will be able to, if we get Fiddlesticks, to put him on a front portal, so we get 2 Fiddlesticks right in front of the fight. And this is where preparation drives me a little bit batty, especially in Hyperroll, because I couldn't bring Samira in since I needed her to get fully prepared. So I have a not optimal Ashe in there who's doing that job, and just we're not winning that fight. And now that units are fully prepared, we're able to bring in Samira. We also switched out Pantheon. We had another 2-star on the bench, but we brought in the fully prepared Pantheon and just changed the items, and yeah, now we're able to win. So yeah, Gary knew what I was trying to do here. I had let him know, so there's a very early Fiddlesticks, but he's not prepared, but we're just gonna go, you know what? He's getting the emblem because he's going in as soon as we get him prepared. Final augment is Prismatic, and new recruit is going to make my life a lot easier because then I'll be able to bring in Garen so I can still get the defender buff that I otherwise might have been lacking going this route. And luckily this build is so strong, it can overcome the complete derp I have where I still have 2 Lucians in. I had the Ashe out to be prepared, didn't end up putting her back in. She should be in there so we have 3 sure shots, but yeah, it's gonna win anyway. And now we just need one more champion to fulfill Jerry's wish, and that is Ultimate Ezreal. Thank you, Gary. Can't go in yet because he's not fully prepared, but I should be putting the Ashe in. Notice we now have Fiddle on the portal, so we're going to be getting double Fiddles. Now I kind of wish that frontline portal was a little more towards the center, because the concept behind this is that the frontline goes in and just starts knocking Fiddle down, who then just leaps all over the backline and destroys them. But once we get Ezreal in, it should help a lot. Some item choices, and we are looking for preferably Ezreal items or Fiddle items. Although in this case, I'm going to go ahead and grab the Zeke's Herald because it will help multiple champions on our team. Then we get the Rabadon's Death Cap, which can go straight onto Fiddle, which will make him a much more destructive force. A fully prepared Ezreal can come into the game and get himself on the portal, so now we have it generally set up, but we're not there yet. And the reason I moved Shen back is to make sure things focus on Fiddle early, because this is what I want. Fiddle out there disrupting the backline of a team so my backline can do damage. Now, I kind of have a question here, because the portals usually spit out really good items for the champions, yet it wants to put a static shiv on Fiddle, which just doesn't seem like a great Fiddle item, since it's based on attack speed and reducing magic resist, and it feels like it would more be on a support champ than on the main damage champ. But we are now into the top 4, and we can add Garen in for the full team as we go looking to hope to 2-star the Fiddlesticks and the Ezreal. It is time for our final 2 item choices, and I decide here after toying with Spear of Sojin to instead go with Zeke's Herald so I can speed up Samira and Ezreal. That will still get him to his ult faster. Then a second Rabadon's Death Cap for Fiddle, making him even more deadly. There's one thing we need, Gary, and that is a 2-star Fiddle in the front. So now, 2-star Fiddle, 2-star Ezreal, and we are in really good shape. And now it's time to watch the fun, even though they still gave Fiddle a static shiv for some reason. But we now have the 2-star Ezreal, well, 2 2-star Ezreals, 2 2-star Fiddles with lots of items. Their entire backline gets held up. Ezreal casts, Samira comes in, finishes them off, and yeah, wham. The next fight is against a full Animaniacs team, although they do not have a 2-star Misfortune, which is likely going to help us out because the power won't be there. Fiddle jumps in, Ezreal wipes everything out, minus their Vayne, but we've got more than enough to finish that off. And now we have to deal with a team I really don't want to deal with. An underground admin team with a 3-star gold Vi with unrelenting force and a redemption that does not want to die. They walked through us last time, but we didn't have the 2-star Fiddle or the 2-star Ezreal. Hopefully, that will provide enough. I bring everything over to the right simply because that is where Fiddle is going to jump, and I want to stay out of the way of their Urgot, who is going to CC the whole left half of the board. Fiddle does his thing perfectly, followed by Ezreal, and it allows us to focus down Vi, and then the rest of the team is going to fall pretty easily. And we are left against the Animaniacs team, who now has a 2-star Misfortune. So we need to spread everyone out and make sure not to get caught in a wave clearing ult. They also have a ton of 3-star champions, so this is not an easy team to get through, but between Fiddle and Ezreal, we are going to do enough damage that Samira can clean it up, win the damage charts, and the game, GG to everyone. Jerry, I hope you enjoyed this. Everyone else, please don't try to force it. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have an absolutely awesome day.